Recordings in progress. Good evening, everybody. It is actually Monday, January 9th, but I'm going to be going over Tuesday's lecture because it's kind of a better introduction, I feel. We'll be talking about authentication in Django. What I mean by authentication is basically login credentials, stuff like that. One thing we have not done in any of these applications is actually set up users and do something with those users. Any application worth its salt, any web app, the first thing you do, no matter what, is sign up, log in, and that is very important to learn. The reason for that is, you can probably guess. If we've got a application that, I don't know, has personal data on it or has, personal preferences on it, I don't want that to change every time I log, I open the application. I want to have my own stuff. And I don't want somebody else to be able to see my stuff just by some URL, manipulation. So in a lot of what we've done, we could see stuff like HTTP localhost, posts, and then we could do like post one, and then comments too. But if this first post is mine and I want that to be private, what we could do is say, oh, you're a user, and once you're logged in, or rather just associate with a user, right? Like a post could be something posts, and then I'm sorry, I'm kind of doing this example off cuff, just sort of thinking about it. User two comment, or sorry, we'll do something like all posts. And I'm not really showing you an example, but we're just kind of bear with me. So what this would be, hey, let's see all the posts. Actually, yeah, see that first post. And then for user number two, I want to see all the posts. What we could do is, when you log in, we could take you to that URL and it would say, oh, here's for you. But anybody who, knows how to manipulate URLs, pretty much anybody who played with MySpace or has done any of that, you can go see other people's data if you just, adjust this. Let's say I'm user two, but I'm curious, what user three does, and I hit enter, it would take me there. How do we prevent that? How the heck can I lock content behind a user? How do I know, how do I go about making sure a user can only see their stuff and not see other people's stuff? Does anyone have any ideas of how you would code that out? And we're not moving forward until somebody gives me some idea.
We use authentication.
Okay, how does authentication work?
I'm not sure I'm reading through it right now.
So wouldn't you get like you'd get the username and password and then hash them so they're not plain text and store them in a database, and then when somebody inputs that, it references the database and says, okay, this hash is the same and this hash is the same. They can now log in.
Okay. Yeah, you could do that. That is a totally feasible way to do that. However, are you going to be doing that for every single request ever? And how do you store that information? So I sign in. I'm now signed in. The database says, yep, here you go. Am I keeping that in local storage? Am I keeping that in like the app? How's the backend always going to know that it's a good user?
Give them an authentication key or something.
Yeah, an authentication key would be a good idea. We could use, or commonly called auth keys, auth tokens. We could, when you sign in, shoot something to the backend, say, hey, I got a user with a password. Is that a real user? And the backend can say yeah or no. And if it says yes, it'll shoot you an authentication key. Where you store that is up to you. You could store it in the app. You could store it in local storage, session storage even, which I think you guys know what that is. Have y'all dealt with local storage, session storage yet? Generally, you do that with HTML.
Yeah, we did go over it.
Okay. I don't know. I know a little bit about it, but you don't need to know too much about it other than it is some JSON storage you can keep in your web. Like history, basically. Not the best place to put it, but I mean, for a token that has an expiration date, that's totally fine. You can also put it in the application, just hide it somewhere and have an expiration, key on it. If you were going to build that out yourself, you could probably set up some hashed token that matches in the database, give it to the user, and then every time the user submits a form, they got to send that with it. And that's probably the kind of standard way to get that done. These keys tend to expire after a number of uses or an amount of time more often. When you sign out, it sends something to the database that says, hey, clear that out. That's a dead token. Don't use that. But also, just sending in user data every single time is not it's not a bad way. Yeah, it's not the best way to do it, but that is feasible as well. When you sign in, hash something up, or keep it somewhere in the app, keep it somewhere so that you can send that to the back end every time you make a request. But every request you would have to be sending that in and verifying. It'd be a lot easier to just do that with a token, which is kind of what we're going to be doing today. Django's got built-in authentication. It's handy. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it every which way. Django's got it built in. We're going to see how it does it. But generally, or basically what it's doing is creating a user, giving it an authentication key, and when you sign in, it has an auth key and is able to do things with it. Django also comes with some great tools that we're going to be utilizing that allow you to write just pretty much with some forms, create and rather submit forms to register as a user, log in, log out, and save us a ton of work. We don't have to build any of that out really. We just kind of use the Django forms and interact with Django Auth directly. It's very simple. We're going to jump into it now. So, starting with a fresh workspace here. I'm not going to do that. This is a little out of order. First things first, let's create a virtual environment. All right, and then build space for you to work, Jordan. As we're all familiar with Django, I can't do that first. Pip install Django. Lots of good stuff. Django admin, start project, my project. There it is. We're going to hop into there. And so right off the bat, recall Django's got quite a lot of stuff out of the box for us. I don't know a better way to see this other than just run it. See this 18 unapplied migrations? That is a ton of stuff that we've kind of got loaded up ready for us, and you can see some of that. Let's open up a file tree so we can all see. Remember, in my project, we've got these settings.py here. When you look at your installed apps, we usually put our application here, but let's look at some of these other things here. This is a lot of other applications that are kind of baked in. We've played with admin. We've seen that we can build an admin panel right out of the box. But here's an auth one as well. These are things that are ready to go, ready to be loaded up, and at least the admin portion, and I think auth as well, is what some of these migrations are. So let's go ahead and just migrate. We don't have to make migrations. These are already, this migration is already ready to go. You have 18 unapplied migrations. So we really just need to Python, manage, migrate, load them all up. This is the migration name. What are we all throwing in here? You're gonna I'll point some parallels to this here. We've got user names that are loaded up. That's part of auth. We get that out of the box. We've got some, where did I see the word sessions in here? Where is that? I just read over that. Where'd it go? Anyhow, we've got users, we've got groups. That's all built in with users. proxy firms, all these things. All of that is coming from a lot of this stuff here and is loaded directly into our database. We've looked at that before. Just want to point that out. We're not bringing this up out of nowhere. I'm not doing anything different. We're just digging more into stuff that Django was already doing for us, but now we're going to lean into it a bit. Oh, it does want me to point out this is here. I didn't make this up. I didn't paste this in here. You've got that already. If you're following along, that'll be in yours as well. To get routes for authentication, so we've got authentication like we've got admin. We've got those tools all ready for us. But if we want to actually make URLs to utilize that, we got to kind of throw it in here. As we're used to, we'll make, we've got the admin URL path that'll go there, but now we're just adding, we're adding one for our auth. And this is including right here. So Django contrib auth.urls. This is going to be building out URLs for this accounts right here, which going a little out of order. We actually need to create that app, but that's what our account's going to be called, or sorry, that's what our app's going to be called. It's going to be accounts. What we get by plugging this in, these URLs here, that's not one, this isn't one URL called accounts. This is actually accounts and all of these, which include login, logout, password change, password change, done, reset, done, reset, UID, token, reset, done. You get all of this baked into this one singular path here. So that's what we're going to be getting for free here in a bit. I know it's a little bit of magic, but Django does do a lot of magic for us already. This is not, something, this is not an unprecedented thing. We've had this baked in at all times, and we're going to be using it now. So with these routes, we are going to use some templates, and let's build those out a little bit. One thing I want to point out that we're doing that might confuse you. Let's create templates, registration, login.html, but we're going to be doing this at the same level of the project. We're not going to do it within the project. It's going to be at the same level of the project. So when I go to create this, I'm not going to be doing it within my project, and because I don't trust this file tree here. You see, here is the top level of the project. I'm not going to go into this, which has all of these things. I'm creating it within this folder. So maybe I'll just do it this way. I don't really want to. Yeah, this is fine. So new folder, templates here. And if y'all have been paying attention, one of your questions ought to be, how is Django going to know where that's at? Because we know that Django is generally looking within the apps, or rather within an apps template. That's okay. We're going to play with settings.py here in a second. So let me finish doing what this wants. This wants me to build templates, registration, and login HTML at the top level. So I got templates, registration, login.html. And let's go ahead and add some content here. To login, we got a form. It's going to be a post type. Here's our CSRF token slapped in there. Form as P tag button. Very simple form. It's going to generate a form. Whatever form we pass to this, we'll get to that in a second. But right now, this is a very, very simple HTML. It's just some HTML H2 tags, and it's a form that submits something, but we'll add to it. Right. So I was talking about earlier, usually templates is within the apps, but since this is kind of the accounts functionality, so we're doing it at the project level rather than within the application, so we need to put it up higher. And as I was talking about, it's used to seeing it within the application. We're going to have to tell Django where this is. So within settings.py, I really hate all this extra stuff. I just want to blow it away each time. Let's go to templates here. And it's got this directories key. We're going to paste base directory for this to be at templates. So it knows where to go looking for this thing for templates, right? This is a templates key. And then this is kind of configuration parameters for templates. It is now looking at this directory templates rather than, you know, what is generated later. I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna talk out. I'm not gonna talk out of turn, but I feel like this gets adjusted when we create an application. We can look at that later. At the bottom, we're gonna put in this environment variable. Do we know what environment variables are? And how to tell when something is an environment variable? This is a term that shouldn't be new. Anybody? Somewhat important. An environment variable is just something that exists within the environment running basically the Python shell. In this instance, when you start up your Django app, it's going to run through settings.py and set all of these variables that live within the environment. These can be reached by pretty much anything running within this Python shell by referring to environment variables. These are variables that are higher than global, basically. So you've got like your variables within a function, you've got variables above that at a global level, but then you've got environment variables that exist throughout the entire application. You don't have to reference a file or pull a class in and take a variable from it. These exist within the entirety of the shell, within the entirety of the environment. They generally always should be fully capitalized snake case, aka screaming snake case. Sorry, I'm getting poked by the other instructor. Cool. Does that make sense to everyone? Did that throw anyone off? I can go more into environment variables, but it's not super important right now. I think they're cool. When are we going to create this application? No, we're doing it way down there. Okay. That's weird. Where did it go? Sorry. I just went over this, but I forget specifically the order. All right. So like yesterday, which we didn't do, like today, we're going to be adding these template views here within the main URL instance. So before we haven't started our app yet, we're doing everything this at the project level URLs. Let's throw in this here. So this Django views generic base, and we're going to add this bit here. This is basically saying we're not building it out yet. I don't love the order this is going in. We've worked with base templates before, like you've got your base template for your HTML and you extend. We are setting a new base for the project URL. If you go to project, the main local host and nothing else, you don't go to admins, you don't go to nothing. We are going to be generating as a view a template from home.html here. This is baked in Python. Don't worry too much about it. I know it's a new thing. Bear with me. Hit the I believe button for now. Next, in the templates folder, we're going to create 2 additional files. First is base HTML. Not a crazy new thing. But again, pay attention to what's going on here. I'm not doing this within templates registration here. So it's not going to be at the same level as this. I'm doing this within templates. You can do that with the file tree here. You could, do it from the shell, which I prefer, but I know you guys like to click on things. So within templates, new file, base.html. Notice again, that is not within registrations. If we close this, it's outside of it. I hate trying to get space for all this on my machine. Grab it. There we go. So just comment up here. If you haven't seen HTML comments, I feel like you have. We are just setting some base parameters. This is the HTML meta. This is the title. This is going to exist on all of our templates. Basically, we're just getting a character set and a title and plugging it all in one, main HTML document. nothing crazy going on with our base. Same thing within templates, open a new file, we're gonna call this one home.html, is that right? Yep, and we'll paste this. So, you know that. This extends base, got a title, hi username. We're gonna have a logout URL and a login URL, nothing wild. One thing we're going to do now is update that login.html to kind of utilize our base. So let's copy, paste, and then talk about it. This now is going to extend base.html, which it does know where to go get it from. Block title and block login. We're adding a new title, basically. Login, post. I think this is really all we've actually added, nothing crazy. Let's see if this works. I'm gonna open two terminals. Can you drag? I really want my terminals on top of each other, not side to side. That's all right. Hop into the project. Python manage.py run server. Hopefully no mistakes. Looks good. Let's go here. This is what we have built. Nothing crazy. That's kind of not easiest thing in the world to see. Turn this off for 1 second. All right, looks a little bit better, right? Simple login form. We haven't built any routes for this. Doesn't do anything, but we built this form here. That is it. This form here. It's just building out this form. Nothing crazy. Where's the username coming from? Oh, hold on. Oh, okay. One thing we should talk about, if the user is authenticated, this is something that Django is going to know. The user that is currently signed in, if it's authenticated, we should get, we're not logged in, but this looks like, oh yeah, so we're not logged in. It's going to skip that entirely. Let's run back to this. All right. So we do need to create a super user. Doesn't come baked in. You always got to build that yourself. Python manage.py, create super user. I'm not at the right level. Squid, password 123 123. Do it anyways. Sounds good. And let's try logging in. So might need to refresh that JavaScript. Oh, it's squid 123. Log in. We're logged in. We're authenticated. Hi, squid. Log out. Otherwise, we would be not logged in. So we need to log out. But we can't log out because we didn't build that yet. Or rather, we didn't take us anywhere. I guess this will bring us back. Ooh, that's trying to log into admin. So yeah, that's the problem. It's trying to interact with the admin database. Okay. There's too much instructor chat in Slack. I'm sorry, y'all. They're the self-paced course starts today, and they're doing install fest, and they're desperately drowning. Okay. Great. Let's keep moving. We're going to create our own view, our own URL for sign up. Let's create our own dedicated app. Python manage.py start app accounts. We've done this before. We'll do it again. Create a new app called accounts. Here it is. Got all our stuff built in as we expect. Register it as we know. Settings.py. We go to the installed apps. We throw it in wherever we want. And now in my project.urls, we're going to point it at accounts and use actually two of them. Let's see. what are we adding here? Okay, so we're adding the accounts.urls. We already had this bit here, the auth URLs and everything that gave us. Now we're going to be pointing at any additional URLs we want to create for app. Anything else? I think that's it. Let's go ahead and create accounts.urls. Let's see. Remember, you got to create your own when you create a new app. Just doesn't assume you want them. Import views, that makes sense. Django URLs, we use that. We're going to create a sign up page. So we'll be going to the URL accounts/signup. Views, sign up as view, name, sign up. That's interesting. Skipped over that. What is that saying? I've never seen this before in my life. Come back to that as I figure it out. Sorry, y'all. All right. As we see in URL patterns, we need to set up our sign up. So let's go to views within accounts. Copy paste, see what we're getting. We are going to be getting the user creation form from Django Auth forms. I know this seems like a lot of stuff to remember. Jordan, how am I going to remember this user creation form? You've always got these lessons to kind of lean back on and utilize, this stuff. It's something as you work in Django longer, you're going to kind of remember all the different tools in it that you want to use. But for now, don't freak out if you think, oh, I'm not going to be able to remember this. You don't really have to remember anything in coding. You always have all your old examples. So as we get further and further into these frameworks, don't freak out. Just remember you've got these as notes to kind of lean back on. Set up a class, sign up, generic, create view, form class, user creation form, which we're stealing from here. Upon a successful URL, we're going to reverse lazy the login, and then template name is going to be this template here. So we're going to be providing this class. I think this is just a class-based way of doing this. I wonder why this is still here. I don't super love that. I wonder if I can remove this, because this is not how we typically do this. I wonder if that's an artifact. Okay. Let's set up that sign up view in views.py. Oh wait, we just did that. See, I'm getting out of control. Oh, I hate that so much. All right. That last line tells us we need to sign up HTML template. Let's do that. And this is going to be within registrations. So templates, registrations, create new file, sign up. What are you doing? There. All right. We have signup.html. This is a sign up page. What this is going to allow us to do with all this crazy stuff we've done with this user creation form we're taking from Django. This is going to let us actually create a real user in Django using the built-in user table. Recall, we don't have to set up users as a model in Django. You can if you want to, but it's baked in. We've used the admin panel to do it before. This is an easy way to plug creation of a new user directly into your Django application without having to bake out any of that on your own. I know it's a lot of new stuff, but this saves a lot of time, and this is probably the safest way to do it because it's baked straight into Django and it's always going to be there for you. So without much, what am I getting pinged for here? Oh, cool. Thank you very much. Chad's got info on the as view. Yeah, this is just going to create all the instances of class, making sure that the right handling methods are defined history classes. I just feel like we could do it more similarly to how we've been doing it, but maybe there's a great reason for doing that. Cool. So we've got this.
Is it like you were saying though, Jordan? It's because we're doing the classes, and it's just
Yeah,
a Django way of handling that.
Exactly. Yeah. My complaint is, why are we doing classes now without even talking about it? With just throwing it in here without even talking about it, but it's fine. Just what this is doing is you're doing views dot. You would normally hand it a function. Instead, you're handing it a class and then invoking the function within that class. We didn't have to do that, but we're doing it that way. And you see it here, rather than doing functional views as we're kind of used to, we're going to be doing it this way. Maybe this is the way you have to use this user creation form. Maybe I'm going to look at that. For now, do it this way when doing the user creation form. Don't start converting all of your views into class-based or object-oriented programming unless you super duper want to. Stick to what we've kind of been doing. It is possible that this library expects this in a class, this generic.create view function. I wonder where that's getting built in from. Anyhow, let's see this work, because I've talked about what it's supposed to be doing. It sounds like a lot of magic. Actually, I think we don't. Yeah. Cool. Not found because I'm not running the server. Well, I am running the server. Okay. Move this on for now. All of this extra stuff, all this stuff baked in that helps the user create a proper user account as Django expects it. This is what we bought ourselves by using this user creation form from Django contrib.auth.forbes. We get this. This is what your Django sign-in will look like. You could pretty this up with some CSS and whatnot. But with just kind of following some basic steps for creating this, and I know it seems like a lot of new things, but I'm telling you, you can, why is this? Oh, it's because yeah. You can blow through this curriculum very fast and get sign up, hooked up in your app right out the bat. So let's just verify this actually works. We'll do Tiffany because you're the closest. Your password is Tiffany. Oh, that's probably not gonna let me do that. Let's just do some nonsense. Sign up. Takes us back to the login page. Was that a real user, I wonder? Wonderful. We are authenticated using let's see this using this Jinja here. You can what is it called? What is the word? Gosh dang it, Jordan, come on. You can logically, not logically, you can what is this called? Guys, my brain just stopped working. What is it? You can conditionally render. Goodness. You can conditionally render content. And thanks to Django, you just have to use something like this. User dot is authenticated. And you can determine whether or not a user is authenticated and they can see that content. What you could do beyond that, which we'll get more into later in this week, and this is kind of pseudocode, obviously. User is equal to like user.id, 1 or something. I don't know if that's real, but you see what I'm saying here is I can conditionally render content based off who the user is. If this user isn't Tiffany, I don't want it showing Tiffany's posts. You can dig into user and figure out all your different options there, but that's what we've kind of unlocked the ability to do, is conditionally render content based off of the user, based off whether the user is authenticated or not. What you could do in addition to that, which we will also be working on, and I think you can probably figure it out on your own, is if you go to a page that you're not allowed to be at, you could redirect the user. You know, if someone hits a URL and they're not authenticated, you can fire them back to the sign in, sign up page, which is super powerful, because up till now, none of your applications required sign in, and whether they were signed in or not, or, you know, signed in, you can still do whatever you wanted to. So this is a good way to actually make your applications, you know, useful for more than one user. And it's all through Django. Let me turn this back off. I know that was a lot. I know it was a lot of new stuff, and it's okay if you don't follow the necessary, or you don't necessarily follow the steps exactly. As you see, I even have some difficulty explaining what's going on. But if you follow along with this and you do what it says, you will have the ability to create users. And then once they're in there, you know, you're kind of good. And you can create the forms any way you want to. We're just leaning on as much of Django as we can. Does anyone have any specific questions about what I've just covered?
Just want to make sure I understand correctly. The user that you have, user that username, user that is authenticated, that is an instance of the user model that Django is providing us with?
That is correct.
Okay, so then there'll be like other attributes and methods we could use.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, got it.
Absolutely. Which definitely going to be in the Django docs. All of the things you can do with it. And if we really wanted to, we could probably show some stuff about that user. Like, I don't know what this is going to do. I think this is going to make it mad. I think we can do that, right? Is this Python or is this JavaScript? It's Python, right?
Python.
Cool. Yeah, I think JavaScript is the other way around. Keys.user. I forget. Oh goodness, did we not direct it back? I thought we fixed that. Okay, it doesn't like that. I want to see this, but I don't want to waste too much time on this. You should be able to disassemble a user and see all the different values that are associated with, all the key value pairs that are associated, and do some stuff. But I encourage you to fiddle with that during your 2 assignments for today, which we will talk about once I finish recording. Are there any other questions?
Yes, so I'm following along, and at the end, I end up getting template does not exist for the sign up HTML.
Okay.
What would you suggest that I would go back to try to figure out what I did wrong?
Is your sign up HTML located within templates/registration, or is it located within just templates?
It is within the registration folder within the templates folder. Like it's nested, but it's in the registration.
Oh, and I just remembered why that didn't send me to the right spot. I'll forget to add logout redirect URL. So that is potentially due to a few things. If we can't figure out real fast, I'll dig in with you. But it is important So that it knows where it's at. First thing I would do is restart your server and run again, because a lot of times when you give it a wrong template, Django is not going to let you just add that template in there. It kind of bugs the server out. But it's important to have the DIRs variable within your templates environment variable set to this templates here. So you set the base directory to templates, which it's going to find this bit here. Beyond that, can't think of, if you're following along, what else could cause that. Do you see it now after restarting?
So I'm restarting, or I am restarting now. Let's see if it'll still give me the same error. Yeah, it keeps telling me that the template doesn't exist. But I might have to look into it after.
Is it spelled correctly?
I believe so. It's accounts /sign up. And it's telling me no.
I was having that issue earlier, and what I found out was I put login. I was supposed to put login and sign up and registration, and then base and home and templates. It's like two different files. And so once I put login and sign up and registration and the others in templates, then it worked for me. But I was getting that same error as you.
Let's you know what? I think it's valuable. Share your screen while we're recording on
All right.
YouTube.
All right, thank you. So here I am in my VS Code, and let me go and pull up the page so everyone can see. So this is the error that I'm getting, telling me that I don't have a template.
Okay, let's go to that view.
Okay.
Well, I guess that view is already kind of baked in. So
here's the view for sign up.
yeah, registration.sign. Let's go to the
I didn't know
URL.
if. Okay. Let's see.
Wait, which is this with accounts?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that looks right.
So I think this is saying that if you type in sign up as like the URL path, that it's going to give you the sign up view. And it's called, the name of it is sign up.
Yeah, let's go back to the page one more time, the web page.
I
Can you
even
get rid of
tried
that?
fiddling around with it, taking off the / and it puts it back on.
Yeah, so let's instead of going directly there, just to see, because this might make it easier to track down, just get rid of accounts and sign up and just go to localhost 8000.
Okay. Okay,
You
so I
have,
guess now it's telling me that I don't have this template as well.
okay, let's go to your settings.py.
Okay. Here we go.
And go to templates, the big capital templates key right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm gonna have to dig into this with you. It's not obvious to me what it is just yet. Unless anyone's got any ideas, but I'd rather dig into that with you, because I think we've gone through all the obvious stuff.
Did
Okay,
you add your
thank you.
accounts?
Is
Say
it
again?
because these templates are under my project instead of at the same level as accounts?
Oh, wait, hold up. Yeah,
Oh, good catch.
yeah, good catch. Yeah,
Or-
templates is at the wrong. That templates needs to be, ooh, wait, hold on.
In here?
Mm, outside of that. It needs to be outside of that.
The same as
Not-
managed by, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so just drag it down to the bottom. If that's how that works.
So it should be like a separate folder.
Wait, hold on, it looks right. Wait, did that just move it or no?
No, yeah, I moved it outside
Okay.
of my project.
Yeah. Remember when I was going through the beginning, we need this at the same level as my project, not within it.
Okay. That's a listening issue on my part.
No, it's okay. There you go.
Okay. Sorry
Yep.
about that.
No worries, it's a new thing.
Let me go ahead and stop sharing.
All right. Any other questions? I will stop recording then. When I can find the button. Lost it. Oh, here.